The Oregon coast has a great combination of ancient volcanoes and coastal erosion, which provides many interesting things for us to explore. One of those points of interest is called God's Thumb, and it draws in many people with its dramatic shape. This lone rock formation stands tall against the ocean, making for not the safest hiking conditions, which have seen many accidents and rescue calls each year. In Oregon, you have your choice of so many epic natural landmarks to visit. But these marked special places have something in common. This year, in 2026, someone died while enjoying each of these places. These were all tragic events, but many could have easily been avoided by making safer choices. God's Thumb is not the site of a recreational death, yet, but there are multiple accidents, injuries, and rescues that take place here every year. From alluring internet pictures and being in view from Lincoln City, this place draws in many unprepared visitors. While the hike shouldn't be that dangerous, some bad choices get made near the exposed cliffs. The approach to God's Thumb has been confusing due to its exploding popularity and cranky neighbors, but in recent years the access and direction has been improved. Early morning on a weekday the parking was calm and quiet, but during peak weather weekend days the full parking can extend nearly a mile. Not every visitor comes for God's Thumb. There are many connected trails in this area. It's called the Knoll, with a main loop trail and other side trails going all over this coastal forest. The main route to God's Thumb is about 2.5 miles one way. For an in-town and accessible hike, the elevation gain is on the high side at around 1,000 feet. The journey is well worth it, and shortcuts should not be taken. This is both for your safety and enjoyment, and to maintain the health of this forest. The dense, dark forest at the start is a great representation of our coastal temperate rainforests. Once the trail reaches the top of the knoll, the forest opens up for a change in scenery. Some of the land on this trail is privately owned, and we are at the mercy of landowners to keep it open. Fortunately, this headland has mostly been preserved, instead of more million-dollar vacation homes. Here we chose to coexist with nature, rather than fight against it. Once God's Thumb is visible, there is a decision to make. Not everyone needs to or should go down to the rock itself. The cliff exposure is very dangerous, and one bad choice or slip can lead to a very bad day. Nearly every year there are a few accidents and rescues that take place at God's Thumb. Just this year, in spring of 2026, there were 2 cliffside helicopter rescues. News articles covering this place list a variety of injuries and circumstances, but often they state that the victim was down on a cliff. Articles covering accidents and rescues usually don't give much info on what led to the accident. This part of the trail is already very close to the cliff edge, but still you would have to go out of your way to get off the trail. It's a bit selfish to unnecessarily put yourself in danger here, not only risking your safety, but the safety of others rescuing you, and the public cost of the rescue. Some of these helicopter rescues can cost the public tens of thousands of dollars, which could have been used on better things like education or infrastructure. We are also dealing with wet coastal cliffs here, where erosion and slips do happen. It's worth noting that this trip was in ideal conditions in summer. Visiting another time, you could see heavy wind and wet, slippery ground. The many accidents over the years have led to preventative trail improvements, with a lot of it being in a trench now. But we can only do so much. People will need to make the right choices themselves. At some point, most of us learn to appreciate and respect the powerful forces of nature. Other than a little risk and hard work, the journey can be made safely, and reaching God's thumb is a nice reward. A calm place in nature without the crowds was my reward for starting early in the morning. The rock formation itself is named simply for sticking out of the ocean like a giant thumb. The coastal formations here are the result of volcanic activity and the power of the ocean over time. The thumb is known geologically as a volcanic plug or volcanic neck. A long time ago, this was an erupting volcano, much larger than the thumb. The hot magma core of the eruption cooled slower than the rest, making the inner rock stronger. With the powerful ocean next to it, the weaker outer cone eroded over time, leaving the core we see today. The remaining lone headland sticking out provides a nice and wide coastal view. Looking north is Cascade Head Nature Preserve, which has a slightly less prominent thumb. Down below you can see the ocean continuing its demolition of the thumb. This rock may become even more inaccessible one day with erosion and rising sea levels, if you believe in that sort of thing. The thumb is right next to Lincoln Beach, with the view tempting many beachgoers. Even though it's close, there isn't any way up from the beach. But people have tried this steep and loose rock slope, which has been the cause of some of the rescue missions here. Being Lincoln City's main hiking destination, of course, there's a nice view of the city. Many of these beach houses, pretending to not be Airbnbs, have their own battle with erosion. One of these homes had a seawall collapse, causing it to come dangerously close to falling into the ocean. To save these houses, more structural walls or riprap rock hills need to be built. But those structures actually shrink the public beach and can deflect the effects of erosion elsewhere. Once again, we find that fighting against nature is often a losing battle. Speaking of losing, the town of Lincoln City has renamed this beautiful white coastal island after our president. While they put their name on everything lately, this one seems extra fitting for some reason. Unfortunately, guano is very nutrient rich, so they may begin drilling at any moment. To the south is Boiler Bay, which is a bit of a boring state scenic viewpoint. You may not be wondering where the name comes from. Well, a ship had a boiler fire and crashed there after being abandoned. The ship's boiler is still visible during low tide. Somehow we made it to God's Thumb and back without a helicopter rescue. Staying on the trail was a good choice to preserve the land and stay safe while enjoying this destination. A common theme on the Oregon coast is man versus nature, but I find it much better to go with the flow of nature rather than against it.